A new report from a foreign policy think tank is calling for the administration to take on a more defensive posture with China. That, in doing so, they say we have to drastically reduce the number of troops on China's doorstep. China expert Gordon Chang joins me now. Gordon, they're known as the restrainers. That's kind of the shorthand. They want us to pull back troops from Japan and Korea, South Korea. What do you make of that? What do you think of their suggestion?
Yeah, in general, they get one thing right and a lot of things wrong. In the moments before war, it would be good if U.S. forces were dispersed throughout the region, because that would make it harder for China to destroy them in the first half hour. And so, for instance, I don't think that the George Washington Strike Group, which is our group of ships centered around the George Washington, an aircraft carrier, I don't think it should be in Yokosuka, Japan. I think it should be pulled back to at least Pearl Harbor. But the thing that is wrong about this report is that it believes that U.S. troops in the region cause tension with China. And that's absolutely wrong. U.S. troops and U.S. forces in the region create deterrence, which means they reduce tension and they drastically reduce the chance of war. And the symbolism of taking troops out of South Korea would be horrible right now after South Korea has just elected a leftist as president. Taking troops out of South Korea to the extent that they want could tip that country into China's hands. And so that's just wrong on all counts.
Now, as you well know, I mean, there are people in Congress like Rand Paul and others who think that we are just spending too much of our own, not only money, but more importantly, human capital, sending all those troops over there, keeping those troops there in such large numbers. I mean, there is a legitimate argument that perhaps just on the basis of humanity alone and our own troops, we pull some of the numbers back. But you would say what to that?
Well, we do that, we risk global conflict. Right now, there's a war in Ukraine. There's was a war in Iran and Israel, a war in Pakistan and India, and we've got insurgencies in North Africa that look like wars. One more war, and it is global conflict. And so what we need is the U.S. forces to maintain presence and stability throughout the world. And we would be spending a lot more money, and Rand Paul would be much more upset if we were involved in World War III.
All right, next one, Gordon. Republicans are calling on the administration now to expedite a review of Chinese-made drones. And of course, we've seen these Chinese drones all over the world. They want the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, to assess security risks that they pose. Do these drones pose a serious threat, not only to us, but to the whole world?
Well, of course they do. They're Chinese made, and they send information back to China unless a user prohibits that. The other thing is that merely by buying drones from DJI, which makes 70% of the world's drones,
yes,
a Chinese company based in Shenzhen, what we're doing is we're enriching that company and we're helping a Chinese defense contractor. We should be stimulating domestic drone production in the U.S. as a matter of high priority. So, yeah, of course we shouldn't be buying Chinese drones. And when China talks about going to war and is mobilizing all of society to go to war, the fact that we even have to study this really says something's wrong in the Pentagon.
Yeah.
They should be making decisions on the basis that we are on the edge of catastrophe, because it looks like we are.
That sounds sensible to me. Gordon, thank you very much. Gordon Chang, appreciate you being here.